I'm Michael Halligan, CEO for God's Pantry Food Bank. Thank you for being here this morning on this absolutely gorgeous late summer morning. September is Hunger Action Month, and today, September 17th, is Hunger Action Day. And we're here today to talk a little bit about hunger, but far more importantly, to talk about the actions that you all and those that are viewing this. We've got a live stream going. We'll have some media later. Actions that we can all take to end hunger in our community. I'm going to take just a moment to recognize some folks, and then I'll turn the mic over to Katrina Thompson, who is the Executive Director of Feeding Kentucky, to Governor Andy Beshear, and to Mayor Linda Gordon, and then I'll come back up for some closing comments in a few minutes. But first, let me, and I've got a fairly long list of folks that I want to recognize, so my apologies, but there's a lot of people here in the audience today that are making a huge, huge impact on the lives of so many folks that are hungry. First, I'd like to recognize Rocky Atkins. Where's Rocky? Rocky. So just a little bit of a personal note, when I joined God's Pantry Food Bank in December of 2016, Rocky was one of the first persons that I met over in Moorhead. I know how much he cares about hunger and about the Commonwealth of Kentucky. Rocky, thank you for being here today. I really appreciate it. I'd like to recognize the Feeding Kentucky staff. If you all could just wave real quick. There's several here in the audience. They are making a difference to the lives of people all across the Commonwealth of Kentucky. There's several members of the God's Pantry Food Bank staff that are here today. If you all could raise your hands. They're making a huge difference in central and eastern Kentucky every day. There's 250,000 people who are impacted by our work, and we touch every one of those lives as frequently as we can. There are several members from the God's Pantry Food Bank board here. If you all could raise your hands. Thank you for your guidance. Thank you for your stewardship. Thank you for helping us think strategically about the work that we need to do. We've got a guest, Glenn Means from Habitat. Habitat is one of our neighbors down here at the other end of the building. Scott Pennebaker from Rebuild. Where's Scott? Scott had the vision to help us think about this space. We'll talk more a little bit later about what this space in front of you is. Is Scott Reed from 817 Winchester LLC here? Scott Reed is part of the vision of this facility. The folks at Churchill McGee, there's several. If you all could raise your hands. Churchill McGee has been helping us redesign this space that we'll talk about in a few minutes. Thank you so much for stepping in, leaning into helping those who are experiencing hunger. Assistant Chief Maynard from the Lexington PD. Where's the Assistant Chief Maynard? Thank you for being here today. And Sheriff Witt from the Fayette County Sheriff's Department. Where's Sheriff Witt? Those two organizations behind the scenes deliver food to the citizens of Lexington and Fayette County throughout the year. And finally, Councilman Brown. Where's Councilman Brown? The space that we are standing in is in the 1st District. There's a lot of hunger in the 1st District, and having a physical presence in the district is critically important to God's Pantry Food Bank. And finally, I want to recognize 4 students from the University of Kentucky who attend the Gatton Graduate School of Business. Luke Fortner, Jaron Elliott, Rebecca Addison, and Serenity Bailey. Raise your hands. This team, Project Connect team, will be helping us this fall imagine what this space will look like and how we communicate the impact of this space. And then next summer, next spring, they'll probably be helping us with some of the design and operational aspects of it. Those are the folks that I wanted to take a minute to introduce. Hopefully I didn't miss anybody. I'm going to turn it over to Katrina to talk a little bit about hunger in the Commonwealth. I'll be back in a few minutes. Katrina?
Good morning. I'm so pleased to be here today on this wonderful day. However, I want to tell you that hunger was not or is not a COVID issue. Before the pandemic, many Kentuckians were they were already making choices between medicine and buying food. Many adults in every community across the state, it could be your neighbor, it could be your child's classmate, your co-worker, or someone you attend church with. Hunger can affect people from all walks of life. Many Kentuckians are just one job or one medical crisis away from food insecurity. Our children and our seniors are two of our most vulnerable populations, which are more at risk. 1 in 6 Kentuckians are food insecure. It exists in every county, ranging from 7.4% in Oldham County to 27.5% in Harlan County. 6 of our Kentucky counties in the United States with the highest overall food insecurity rates are in God's Pantry area: Harlan, Bell, Magoffin, Breathitt, Clay, and Wolfe County. And again, they are served by God's Pantry. Kentucky has the highest rate in the nation among older adults aged 50 to 59, and a significant number of this age population are raising grandchildren, which puts them further at risk. 1 in 4 Kentucky kids are food insecure. Childhood food insecurity is linked to developmental delays, poor academic performance, and behavioral problems, as well as an increased risk of diabetes and obesity. In this country, in this state, there should be no one without enough food to eat, and no one having to decide between buying medicine or buying food. Feeding Kentucky's call to action, along with their partners, is to identify needs, make referrals, reach out regarding driving those who need assistance, to visit our website at feedingky.org. Click on your county. Feeding Kentucky covers all 120 counties, and our food banks have over 800 pantries that we serve to ensure, again, no one should be hungry in our state. Thank you. It's my honor to turn this over to Governor Beshear, who has been very supportive, as you see today. So, Governor.
Thank you. All right, well, good morning. It is great to be in Lexington, a place where I was born, a place where I went to incredible public schools, and a place that cares about its neighbors. I couldn't agree with you more. No one should ever have to decide between purchasing medicine and having enough to eat, because both health care and having enough to eat are basic human rights. Our faith teaches that. Our values teach that. And you all are living it here today. I'm happy to be with you today as we shine a spotlight on the important issue of hunger in the Commonwealth. And we celebrate the future of helping to meet this fundamental need here in Fayette County. You know, today we're doing kind of two things that may feel opposite, but I think everywhere there's difficulty, there's also hope. We're talking about how far too many Kentuckians go hungry each night. It is unconscionable that 1 in every 4 Kentucky children might go hungry, but it's amazing to see what this facility, what God's Pantry is going to be doing right behind us. It gives us hope. Hope that we can address this major challenge. It gives us direction on how each of us can come in and volunteer in this great space when it opens up, and what each and every Kentuckian can do to help out one another. In a moment, I'll sign an official proclamation naming today, September 17th, 2021, Hunger Action Day in Kentucky. Isn't that a great title for it? It's not Hunger Awareness Day, and awareness is important. We do a lot of proclamations that are about awareness, but this is Hunger Action Day. You know, my granddad was a primitive Baptist minister in a small church in Dawson Springs. That was a Neela church. And what he'd say to me is, Andy, when we're in church, we get down on our knees and pray. But when we're done, we get back on our feet and we do something about all those issues that we are praying that we can impact. So today is a day where we focus our attention on seeking solutions. And it's also an invitation for all of us to get on our feet and to do something to address hunger in the Commonwealth. I'm so honored to be here today with so many folks that work so hard every day, not just the day we recognize them. I'm excited my senior advisor, Rocky Atkins, is here with us today. Not only are we going to do this event, but we're going to go over to Carter G. Woodson right after this and celebrate the opening of the first urban container farm in the entire Commonwealth. A true opportunity for us to do even more inside Lexington and especially across eastern Kentucky to not only address hunger, but potentially to make this part of Kentucky the leading food producer in this country, and we hope eventually in this world. I want to thank the folks here at God's Pantry. Their outreach to the communities that they serve is indispensable, and you are amazing Team Kentucky partners. Let me say, since we are still in COVID, you are essential. What you do every single day before this pandemic, during, and after is absolutely essential. I just had the opportunity to tour the space behind us that's going to house the future God's Pantry Volunteer Center and Food Pantry. And I got to say, it is incredible. Once complete, it's going to be an amazing experience if you need a little bit of help. A place that fills you with dignity and says it's okay, we all need a little bit of help sometimes. And then an amazing space behind it where volunteers from around Fayette County, but we can get bigger than that, right? From around the area can come in and can truly do something to live out that golden rule of loving your neighbor as yourself. Unfortunately, the need for this facility and for God's Pantry couldn't be more serious. Kentucky has the 8th highest ranked rate of hunger in the nation. I don't know about you, but I do not think that that is okay. I think we are better than that. I think we're better people than that. With the amount of food we already grow and where we're going in Kentucky, it's inexcusable. I'd like to think that in our lifetime, with your work, we can do something about that. We can turn that around and make sure that we are never on that side of any statistic again, because that means our kids are fed, our families are secure, and we can lift people up and provide the type of opportunity that they truly deserve. Now, we're looking at nearly 700,000 Kentuckians facing hunger or poor nutrition. These are people we know and love and care about. You know, it hit me when we did a Feeding Kentucky event when I was Attorney General several years ago. You know, we'd get up at those events and we'd say, hunger's everywhere. It's in every zip code. And the person who came up to talk about their experience lived in mine. It was a moment where I didn't just say it, but I felt it, and I knew it. And that's the same no matter where you live across this Commonwealth. Only half of Kentuckians who suffer from food insecurity qualify for SNAP benefits. That means there is a lot of people out there that need that extra help and outreach, and that's exactly what we're doing here today. And like I said, let's remember, no matter who you are, no matter where you live, hunger is a lot closer to you than you think. Your neighbors, your friends, the people you go to church with, your child's classmates. Think about that, other kids sitting in that classroom with them. The effect of hunger on our people, and particularly our children, lead to all kinds of adverse outcomes. Again, whether it's 1 in 4 or 1 in 5 Kentucky children facing hunger, it's appalling. You know, one of the only miracles mentioned in every book of the gospel, the fishes and the loaves. And you got to think that that story is supposed to teach us that in a time and a place of hunger, if we can find enough for everybody, we should be able to do it in a country that has plenty, that grows plenty, that makes plenty. All we got to do is live that faith and live those values. As children growing up hungry are more likely to be hospitalized and in poor health. They're more likely to suffer from asthma. They have a higher risk of cognitive and behavioral problems, and adolescents experiencing hunger are at a higher risk of depression or suicidal ideation. We have got a duty to make sure that every child because every child's a child of God, has a real opportunity that doesn't start in the type of place where hunger puts them. And I'd like to think as responsible adults, we can all take that on. It's not red or blue. It's not Democrat or Republican. It's just right versus wrong. And what we're doing here today is right. Adults face many of the same challenges. Hunger among adults is associated with higher rates of diabetes and hypertension, greater risks of obesity, higher medical expenses, and even maternal depression. For our seniors, it can be even more problematic. And even before the pandemic, we were seeing rates of hunger among our seniors were substantially higher than before the Great Recession. The problem was getting worse, not better. But I'm pretty proud of what we've all done together during this pandemic. Because in one of the most difficult times we've ever seen as a society, this is one area we all banded together. We stepped up and delivered more than 5 million meals to Kentucky seniors during this pandemic through the Department of Children and Family Services Department for Aging and Independent Living. And I'm deeply grateful for the 190 senior centers across the Commonwealth and their staff that have done so much legwork. We continue to focus on this issue, and the Department for Aging and Independent Living will host the second annual Senior Hunger Summit virtually on November 17th. We in state government have also worked to meet our obligations, our values, through SNAP, Enhanced Pandemic EBT benefits, and other programs. We applaud our federal administration's recent revision of nutritional standards. The USDA changes to its Thrifty Food Plan is the largest permanent increase in benefits in the program's history. The new maximum of $835 per month for a family of 4 represents a 20% increase, which is going to help a whole lot of families. And our Department for Children and Family Services also implemented a new USDA rule that allows for emergency allotments of at least $95 to those who even receive maximum benefits. That's working every day, looking for the next step we can take, never being satisfied, because there's far too many people out there that are still in need. And none of it could be done without the work of the people here today and those that you represent all over this Commonwealth. So I want to thank Mike and the entire team here at God's Pantry for everything you do. And my goodness, congratulations. Once you see the renderings, this thing is going to be incredible. I want to thank Katrina Thompson and the entire team at Feeding Kentucky for tireless advocacy and hard work. Feeding Kentucky's message this month is food shouldn't be an impossible choice. That is exactly right. No one should have to make a decision between any other need and having enough food on their table, whether that's rent, whether that's utilities, and there's a lot of help out there right now. Feeding Kentucky's mission is so important that I'd also note that back in January, I personally donated $16,000 left over from the Bashir Coleman Inauguration Fund to the group because we wanted it to go to a place where it would do so much good work. Given what today is, I also want to briefly thank all the food banks operating around the Commonwealth. I know how much you work together. Right here, we got God's Pantry Food Bank in Lexington that serves 50 counties, especially those in eastern Kentucky. Free Store Food Bank in Cincinnati, Ohio serves 9 counties in northern Kentucky. Facing Hunger Food Bank, based in Huntington, West Virginia, serves 3.5 counties in eastern Kentucky. Feeding America, Kentucky's Heartland in E-Town serves 42 counties in central and western Kentucky. Purchase Area Development District in Mayfield serves 8 western Kentucky counties. Dare to Care in Louisville serves 8 counties in the Louisville metro area, and Dry Star Food Bank, based in Evansville, Indiana, serves 8 counties in western Kentucky. Caring for those who are hungry is a fundamental tenet of my faith. In the Gospel of Matthew, it's the 25th chapter, we're told of those who received God's blessing. For I was hungry, and you gave me something to eat. I was thirsty, and you gave me something to drink. I was a stranger, and you invited me in. You here at God's Pantry, and you have the exact right name, certainly live out that scripture daily, including that we do and what we need to do for the least of these in our society. That is, in fact, what truly shows our values. The actions we take, those for the lost, the lonely, and the left behind, and making sure that they are found, that they are helped, and that they are truly a part. So with that, I'm now happy to sign this proclamation officially naming today, September 17th, 2021, Hunger Action Day in Kentucky.
Come on, Mayor. All right, Rocky. Come on. Anybody else y'all want? Let's get the UK. Let's get the Project Connect folks up here. Feeding Kentucky staff, God's Pantry Food Bank staff, God's Pantry Food Bank board members. Come on, there's plenty of room.
But there are only 3 now.
You can decide what you want to do with the food bank. Hell yeah! You know, we got almost everybody else. Come on. Councilman Brett, come on. We got everybody else. Let's go.
All right, let's look up for a photo. All right, here we go. All right, it is done.
It's now my pleasure to introduce Mayor Linda Gordon. Linda's going to say a little bit about the work that we do here in Lexington and in Fayette County. Linda?
Thank you, Michael. You know, as you spoke earlier and mentioned all of the people here who are your partners, it made me go back to something that we've all learned during the pandemic, and that's the importance of partnerships. We cannot get through any of this without partnerships, and all of you represent that here today, so thank you very much for that. Yes. And you know, I so appreciate what you do, what your staff does, what the board does, what all of your partners do in terms of feeding our people. And so it is my pleasure today to offer a proclamation. Governor, this is what we do, right? But it's a great way to recognize folks who are doing really good things. And so I'll ask Michael, and how about, where's Councilmember Brown? Where'd he go? Come on up. You're trying to stay in the shade, I know. Mary Alice Daniels, you've been requested, and Dwan Carroll? Carrie. Come on up. Get closer. Oh my goodness. So, whereas September is Hunger Action Month, and whereas God's Pantry Food Bank provides food for people in 50 Kentucky counties, including 12 counties with the highest food insecurity rates in the nation. And whereas Kentucky currently is ranked at the top in the nation for food insecurity among older adults, ages 50 through 59, and whereas this year, God's Pantry is opening a new volunteer center and 5th pantry in Fayette County at 1817 Winchester Road, now therefore I, Linda Gordon, Mayor of Lexington, give thanks for the work of God's Pantry Food Bank in 50 Kentucky counties, including Fayette, and do hereby declare September 2021 Hunger Action Month in Lexington. Thank you, Michael. Just cluster around. Hang on a second. Okay, now we're good. Come on, Governor, get in here. Thank you all. Thank you.
I'm going to ask Dwan and Mary Alice to stay here with me if you wouldn't mind. Sorry. We're ad-libbing this part a little bit. So the reason why today is important to recognize Dwan and Mary Alice is they will have responsibility for the space that we're going to unveil here in just a minute. Dwan is responsible for volunteer coordination. Mary Alice is responsible for what we call our Fayette County Pantry Program. There are about 40,000 people in Fayette County who experience hunger, and we touch some 30,000 households over the course of the year with the pantries that we operate today at Central Christian on Short Street, at St. Luke on Alumni Drive, and a Community Action Council over on Cambridge, or over in the Cardinal Valley neighborhood on Cambridge. And we're going to be adding 2 facilities to those services, one here at 817 Winchester Road, and another one in the Winburn neighborhood. Can you guys hear me better now? And another in the Winburn neighborhood. I'm the tall guy, the mic was for everybody else. In the Winburn neighborhood. And those are 2 areas where we did not have a physical presence, and we know there are large concentrations of folks that are going to experience hunger. Governor Beshear said it a minute ago, food should not be an impossible choice. Let me say that again. Food should not be an impossible choice, ever. We're here today to take a call to action. The simple fact that you all are standing in this parking lot, that you've read proclamations, that you've talked about the number of folks that are hungry in the Commonwealth of Kentucky, here in Fayette County, you're taking action just by being here. 1 action leads to 10. 10 leads to 100. 100 to 1,000. And I can keep going through the math. The fact that you're here, you're taking action. Over the course of the pandemic, God's Pantry Food Bank started to realize that there were some actions that we could take to improve the way that we do our work and the way that we support neighbors all across central and eastern Kentucky. We kind of knew this, but it became abundantly clear during the pandemic. The way we worked with volunteers at our food bank over on Jakey Fox Way didn't allow us to do the work the way the work could be and should be done. The space is too tight, it's congested, and there's so much more that we can do with volunteers. And through the pandemic, we had gracious supporters offer us off-site facilities so that we could socially distance, so we could be safe, so that we could still do the work and do the work in a way that protected the health and well-being of our employees, the health and well-being of our volunteers, the health and well-being of those who are experiencing hunger. And we realized having a volunteer center was critically important to us being able to do our work. Dwan, if you wouldn't mind, would you like to show folks what our future volunteer center might look like? So this is an artist rendering of what we expect 15,000 square feet of volunteer center to look like And we anticipate starting this facility up later this fall here on 817 Winchester Road. We also realized that we were not in every neighborhood in Lexington. We didn't have a physical presence in East End. We didn't have a physical presence in the Windburn neighborhood. And we need to be in those neighborhoods. And so there's another 5,000 square feet of space behind me where we will add a state-of-the-art pantry. It'll be a place where people can gather. It'll be a place where people can access other social services provided by other agencies across Fayette County. And it'll be a place where people don't have to worry about food being an impossible choice. And it'll be connected to the volunteer center so that we can get food to people faster. Mary Alice, would you mind to share folks what we envision for this pantry to look like? So I talked about people taking action and how one action can lead to another. Scott Pennebaker. Scott graciously offered to us this space so that we could do this work. Scott and his team have graciously offered to move out of the space that they occupy in that front 5,000 square feet. They're actually building a new facility that they can move into so that we can have this pantry up and running next spring. Scott, thank you. One action. That action led to another. Churchill McGee. We started looking for folks to help us build out the space. We started looking for folks to help us envision what it might look like. Thank you for leaning in to help us have this vision become a reality. There are all kinds of actions people can take. You can make a financial contribution. You can go to our website. You can go to Feeding Kentucky's website. You can go to many food pantry websites or the other food banks across the Commonwealth of Kentucky and make a financial donation. For God's Pantry Food Bank, $1. $1 translates into 8 meals. Imagine what $10 can do, or 20, or 100, or 1,000. $1, 8 meals. You can hold a food drive and collect food that's critically important to those experiencing hunger. You can do that virtually at our website. Or you can do that in a number of other ways. You can volunteer. Come later this fall, when this facility is operational, you can be one of the first to help us sort food and pack emergency food boxes for folks that are hungry. Those are just a few actions that you can take. You can be a student at UK who leans in and says, how can we help you make a difference? I'm going to close with a story. This past weekend, God's Pantry Food Bank was recognized at a local sporting event. And I happened to be up in the press box, talking a little bit about our work. And a gentleman by the name of Skip, and I'm not going to share any additional information about Skip, he came into the press box, he had on a set of headphones. He was clearly listening to the broadcast. And he said to me, God's Pantry Food Bank saved my life. I lost my job. I didn't have a source of income. I was hungry and I didn't know what to do. And I came to you for food. That's why action matters. Skip's back on his feet. He's got a job. He's earning income. We helped him get through that tough time. And it wasn't just God's Pantry Food Bank. It was volunteers. It was donors. It was others who are experiencing hunger working with one another to make a difference. One person One action can lead to 10. 10 to 100. 100 to 1,000. If every person takes action, we can eradicate hunger in Lexington, in the Commonwealth of Kentucky, and across the nation. Ask yourself what action you will take today. Ask yourself what action you will take tomorrow to eradicate hunger once and for all. Have a wonderful day. Have a great weekend. We're around for some questions if anybody has any questions. Thank you for taking action. Thank you for being here today.